so continuing our discussion from last week, if you're not familiar, a blogger in France wrote a blog post about a restaurant. She reviewed it. It wasn't positive. Mm-hmm. And it was doing so well in Google search results that the restaurant sued her, and the French court decided that she needed to alter her post, de-optimize it, yes, so that it wouldn't perform as well and be a negative result for the restaurant.
Yeah, and pay a fine that was roughly $3,000.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So it was sort of a big deal. It's a normal, blogger, and it was interesting because of all those things you said. It was simply because it was working. So the stuff that we do every day to rank, to get shared, the fact that she was successful at that was her punishment.
Yeah.
It was why she was punished.
Yeah.
There are other reviews that say the same thing that weren't sued for, but the judge sort of cited her influence and said, because this is doing so well, it's an unfair burden on the restaurant, and so it needs to be fixed. Really remarkable.
Yeah, I was shocked when I heard that, but like the laws in different countries are they're not what we have.
No, everyone does not have the same First Amendment we have.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's when I heard that, I was a little disturbed by it. It was, to every blogger, when they're starting out, they don't know, how much influence they're going to have. They hope that they will. But, and it wasn't, she didn't, say anything that, wasn't true or, was trying to, just make them look bad because, for some personal reasons.
Right.
I feel like if you back your argument up with, substantive facts, then, I don't see a problem with it.
Well, there's a whole lot of ways to sort of mentally dismiss this and say, well, it's a French court, it couldn't happen in the U.S., I'm not a blogger or whatever. But anyone who writes a review on Yelp, and we're all publishers now.
Yeah.
I write a Facebook update if it's public. Even if it's not public, if I have a certain level of number of friends, judges have ruled that that's essentially public. So there's that.
Yeah.
The tweets, we're all publishers now. And the other thing that's easy to dismiss is that it couldn't happen in the United States, but something close enough could happen, and that's defamation suits, slander, libel, all those kind of things very much could happen because, as our sort of level of discourse has become less sophisticated, you got the Fox Newses of the world just, and the other side just saying absurd things that never would have been said from a news organization 20 years ago. Sort of bloggers have done that same thing of I get more attention if I really go over the top. Yeah. Well, that over the top is where you may cross into slander and libel.
Right.
And those laws were not repealed with the invention of Al Gore's internet.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that even if you are protected by the law, businesses are strong enough and powerful enough that the threat of a lawsuit is enough to make you want to remove content, especially if you're a blogger this is just a side project for you.
I mean, I can sue you right now. I can file suit, and you have to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You sexually harassed me right there. I'm filing suit, right? I could file suit. You'd have to deal with it. It would cost you time. It would cost you money. It would cost you aggravation. And restaurants, you saw the Amy's Baking Company thing.
Yeah.
They'll fight whether they're right or wrong or sane or not sane.
Yeah.
No comment on Amy's sanity, but they'll fight, and that can be enough to go after any sort of publisher that either hurts or is perceived to have hurt unfairly, and it could mess up your month at least.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess if you're a blogger and you don't want this to happen to you, what would you recommend?
Obviously, you can be sued for anything, so I wouldn't worry about that because you can't control it, so why
Right.
worry about it? But I would just do some basic reading on what is slander, what is libel, what is defamation, what is protected by the First Amendment, and what is not protected, and what rights do celebrities have relative to the First Amendment that are different from normal people, because there's a difference between taking a picture of someone in public if they're a celebrity versus if they're not a celebrity. There's some basic understanding of communications law that I think people should just know. It's not wildly complicated. You can probably study it enough in 2 hours and just have an understanding of it and just write truth. And you know, you can have your rhetorical flourishes, just be careful, you know, you don't cross that line. So I think that's enough. I think the ones who are going to be made examples of are going to be the ones who cross the line, who take it too far, who call people names that are clearly malign them in the general consideration of the community, you know, the sort of definitions of the slander and libel, and they're doing it to be bombastic or to be sort of a rhetorical flourish, but it could get them in serious legal trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that does it for this video. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can follow us on Twitter at IgniteSMA.